Hi, I'm Dr. Tracey Marks, a psychiatrist, and I make mental health education videos. I talked in a previous video about how trauma affects how you store memories. Traumatic experiences can also affect how you perceive things and cause you to have what we call cognitive distortions. These distortions are especially present in people who develop post-traumatic stress disorder from an event, but you don't need to have that diagnosis for your thinking to be skewed from a traumatic experience or experiences. Here are 4 ways trauma can distort your thinking. Number 1 is you can't feel close to people. If your trauma involved losing someone or something, or even being rejected by someone you love, like an absent parent, you can believe that you'll always lose people or things that are important to you. If that's the case, then why bother getting close to someone? Or why bother investing that much into this thing? Because you'll just lose it anyway, and then you'll have to suffer again. Breaking out of this pattern takes time, but change starts with recognizing the connection between your past losses and how you're reacting to new situations in the present. In the wake of a traumatic experience, you tend to overlay the same emotions from the past experience onto the present and react to it as if it's the same experience, but it's not. You can still be disappointed and still experience a loss in the present, but you have agency to make different decisions in the present that could result in a different outcome. So getting past this pattern of reacting with old emotions takes constant reminding that that was then and this is now, and the two are not the same. You won't be able to work all of this out in your head. If you don't have a therapist to help you see what you're doing, journaling your experiences can help you be more introspective. One approach to the journaling is to write down a negative experience that you had interacting with someone. This could be a conflict you had with someone, or did someone say something that made you feel uncomfortable, insecure, angry, shamed, or guilty, just to name a few negative emotions. Once you identify the emotion, write down the situation. What did the person say or do that resulted in you feeling that way? Notice I don't say, what did they do to make you feel that way? We're assuming here that your reaction was out of proportion to the trigger. It doesn't fit the situation, so whatever the person said or did isn't to blame for how you feel. The next thing to explore is, has there been another situation that evoked a similar reaction or emotion? What about that situation is similar to the present? Then you want to look at how that situation is different and how you could have responded differently. Now, this is a very generic template, and you'd have to modify it to make it fit situations where you were overtly harmed versus covertly harmed. For example, let's say you tend to withdraw from people when they start to get close to you. You may recognize that the situations that trigger you to do this may be when someone becomes too controlling or smothering, like a key figure from your past. Or you may pull away when you notice that you're relying too much on the person and you want to keep an emotional distance because you anticipate eventually being rejected by this person or situation, like it always seems to happen for you. These are 2 very different originating traumatic experiences that result in similar behavior of keeping people at a distance or not being able to feel close to people. So this is how exploring these situations through journaling can help you figure this out and see your patterns. I put these questions in a worksheet for you that you can get as a free download on my website. If you're on my email list, you already got it in your inbox when this video published. The second distortion is around feeling safe. If you've experienced something that threatened your safety, like being in a car accident, you may have this foreboding sense that you will eventually die in a car accident or some other accident. It's just inevitable. This unsafe feeling can run in the background of your mind and make you feel anxious, and you may not connect the tension that you feel with feeling unsafe. That fear may not register consciously for you. Instead, you just have this sick feeling in your stomach or sense of dread and not know why you feel that way. Grounding exercises are a great way to get out of future thinking and bring you back to the present moment where you are currently safe. And there's lots of ways that you can ground yourself, but one easy way to do it is to use color awareness exercise. You pick any color that comes to your mind and then name all of the objects in your view that have that color. So you look around the room and say the object aloud. You can look at this exercise and other grounding exercises as a way to diffuse your fear and settle your mind. A third way trauma can distort your thinking is by generating self-blame and mistrust. It's fairly common to blame yourself for the experience. Person-to-person trauma are things like abuse, bullying, or assault at the hands of another person, as opposed to a natural disaster or an accident. We process intentional person-to-person harm differently than unintentional accidents, even if the physical outcome is the same. The thing about distortions is they aren't logical, so when something wrong happens, you look to blame yourself for the circumstance. If I'd only gotten an earlier start to my day, I wouldn't have run into this person who attacked me. This self-blame, guilt, and shame can cause you to doubt yourself and not trust your judgment on decisions. You may even have trouble believing that people can really have your best interests at heart. You can address this distortion with journaling the same way as you would with not feeling close to people. A fourth cognitive distortion that can result from trauma is feeling powerless. You can feel like you can't control any aspect of your life, and this feeling can drive you to make extreme decisions or eliminate things from your life in order to gain control. For example, let's say you're held up at a gas station when you step out of your car to pump gas. This is something that can happen to anyone. Your reaction is to stop driving because you don't feel safe even when you're in your car. You fear that someone can walk up to your car at a red light. Now, you've never seen someone walking up to cars at busy intersections with guns in their hands, but now you see this as fairly probable, an incident just waiting to happen. It's a matter of time. Fear, followed by avoidance of things related to the fear, makes the fear grow bigger and sometimes morph into other fears. Like in this example, it starts with fear of someone surprising you when you step out of your car, and then evolves into general fears that you're a target anytime you're in your car. Avoiding driving altogether is what made the fear grow and develop branches. If you recognize this kind of distortion around being unable to control anything, the thing to do is to dial back and look at the things you can control. If you gain control over something, even if it's small, you weaken the distortion about being powerless over everything. And these can be small wins, like maybe you can control the time of day that you drive, or control only getting out of the car in well-lit and well-populated areas. If you've really gotten into a pattern of avoidance, you may need help from a therapist to help you recognize ways to feel more in control. Another approach to reducing and eliminating avoidance behaviors is to gradually expose yourself to the things that you find threatening. This is called graded exposure or systematic desensitization. Desensitization helps you get past the restrictive behavior that's holding you back, but you'll still need to work on your mindset around feeling powerless. It's a combined approach to managing how you think and your actions. If you don't have your own therapist, you can learn about addressing cognitive distortions in my new book called Why Am I So Anxious? I teach you about how to identify cognitive distortions and how to create fear ladders for graded exposure exercises. The book will be available August 16th, but if you pre-order before that date, you'll get this bonus illustrated guide that has a handy reference for the common cognitive distortions and 11 sample fear ladders. You can get your pre-ordered book from getyourpreorder.com. If you want more details on what's in the book, watch this video for a chapter-by-chapter breakdown, and watch this video for more on how trauma affects how you process memories. Thanks for watching. See you next time.